Hi, I'm Tracy V. Wilson.
And I'm Holly Fry, and we are standing here in front of Harvard's Peabody Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology. The Peabody Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology at Harvard University is one of the oldest anthropology museums in the world. It was founded by George Peabody in 1866, and its collection of artifacts of human cultural history is really, really impressive.
We got to tag along with these fantastic, smart women, Trish Capone and Diana Loren. Diana is director of academic partnerships, and they're both museum curators. And one of the really incredible things they do is offer a class to Harvard undergrads to learn about archaeology by excavating live sites on the Harvard campus.
So the program started in 2005. The museum was contacted by Massachusetts Hall because they were doing some mitigation on campus. They wanted to make sure they weren't coming across any cultural remains. They contacted the museum and asked us to do a little excavation just to make sure that we weren't damaging any cultural resources. And that coincided with the 2005 commemoration of the Harvard Indian College that was put together by Harvard University Native American Program. So we saw this as an opportunity to bring students out to the field and, of course, excavate and look at early Harvard history, particularly 17th century history and the history of Native and English students on campus.
Can you tell us about some of the artifacts that students have found both on previous digs and this one?
Yeah, great. So printing type is always a highlight. Printing type relating to America's first printing press at the Indian College. Some clay tobacco pipes, which are a strong dating indicator for us. Additionally, the architectural debris from each of these buildings is super interesting.
And so this is roof tile that was used for the buildings in the 17th century. You have three huge pieces. So when the building, Old College, was torn down sometime at the end of the 17th century, some debris they would just leave in place, including roof tiles. So it's really significant to find this. It also tells us a bit about what the building looked like on the landscape. You know, we imagine the past in a certain way. We know it was a wooden frame structure, but we don't have any pictures or drawings. And so this kind of gives us a sense of the character of place that was here.
I think what's really interesting is you have the college laws that are produced over a series of years dictating the behavior and activities of the students. And the material culture that we find speaks to what they were doing in relationship to those laws. And that's one of the most interesting things. You know, the historical record provides details on what the overseers wanted or the tutors wanted for the students, but how the students lived their lives in relationship to those laws and in the building of a Harvard identity at the time is different than what you would expect from the archival record.
So when you start a dig, do you ever have like a secret wish list in your head of what you hope you find?
Yes.
So this is Saltburn stoneware, 17th and early 18th century, and it's called Bellarmine. It's produced in Germany. And what you can see right here, they're kind of vessels that have stylized faces on them. They're really distinctive. And what you see here is the eye and part of the nose and the mouth. It's pretty cool. We haven't come across one in this part of the excavation. And it's like a real marker for 17th, early 18th century. It's exciting to find.
So how many students are normally in this class?
Usually about 24. So we lottery the class. There's definitely an interest amongst the undergrads to take the class. You know, they live in the yard. They start their freshman year in the yard. And so they want to see what lies beneath. They're familiar with the excavations. So we have a number of students come out, want to participate, but we lottery to about 24 students so that we can keep a manageable excavation going during the course of the semester.
So when students find things in the course of the class, do they usually know they have something, or are they ever oblivious to like some great find?
Mostly, yes.
Mostly, yes.
Although things like an architectural feature, you know, after 300 plus years, sometimes an alignment of stones that might represent something like a foundation can be a jumble.
Yeah, okay, so we have a variety of architectural materials here, all in close association with each other. Handmade brick, foundation type stone, and tile fragment down here, which we had talked about being from the 17th century. Probably the old college had a roof of clay. And sometimes we find these with the nail holes in them, indicating that they were used as roof tiles. And there's a big bone piece of animal bone, which Nikki just excavated from here, and a lot of charcoal.
Yeah, I guess part of what we're teaching is interpreting those features, which are maybe less obvious, and that part of their training is to be able to identify and document these relationships of soil and other items with respect to each other beyond the individual item. So,
Right.
yeah.
I think students here at Harvard have this unbelievable opportunity to be stakeholders in their past by excavating in the yard and then really seeing the process of taking material out of the yard, excavating it, and then bringing it to the museum, cataloging and inventory, and making an archive for future generations. That is an experience I think that is unique to here. And that kind of hands-on experiential learning is something that takes them out of the classroom and they're able to engage with history in just this visceral way that really has an impact on their learning. The educational goal of the museum to be integrated with the curriculum on campus is definitely part of this project, an important part of this project. And students come to the museum not only as part of this class, but other courses as well, to engage with the collections as part of learning and as part of experiential learning, hands-on learning on campus. We have about 3,000 students that come over the course of every academic year to view the collections and to engage with learning at the museum.
We had the incredible experience of actually getting to be part of the dig at Harvard Yard. We got to shake some of the debris that was carefully collected by the students in special screens. As the dirt falls through this fine mesh, the remaining material is collected to see if any of it is perhaps some sort of artifact. The collected artifacts will be cleaned and cataloged next semester, and they'll go into the Peabody collection.
And we owe such a debt of gratitude to Diana and Trish, as well as communications coordinator Faith Sutter, who helped set this whole shoot up. And of course, the really fantastic Harvard students who shared their afternoon and their class time with us. This program is so special and so unique, and we're really honored to have been welcomed by everyone involved and to get just the privilege and delight of seeing it firsthand.